So the shit, the booze that went through the shit that was on fire, they're out there picking it up with hats, with boots, with any container they got.
Yeah.
So they're going to drink it, of course, a little bit later.
Welcome back to Arsenic Culture. I am Matt.
I am Jason.
I'm still Drew.
That's not how we do it, is it? What's our normal intro?
I don't know. We bad decisions.
Oh yeah, welcome back to Arsenic Culture where, you know what? Fuck it. Hey, what's up? I'm Matt.
I'm still Jason with the white legs.
I'm Drew, and we haven't even started drinking yet.
We literally have not started drinking
Beers
yet.
don't count.
We've had a quarter of a beer and we're already fucking everything up. But welcome back to another long episode in this sweet Airbnb that is still really hot. I wish that air would start. Maybe I should knock it down to like 67.
Nah,
It's
it'll come down.
It's
It'll
a
come
not
down.
Airbnb.
Yeah, it's a stagnant B&B.
Well, in their defense, it just wasn't set, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
we had to come in
yeah.
and turn it on, so
Okay.
it's fine. It's actually cooling down well, but we're still hot. It's about 100 fucking
it's beautiful,
degrees
though.
outside.
So we're at the party house.
No,
party
we're
house
at the...
party house is
Napa
all
house.
of them.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And we're at the Nap House. This is the only one we haven't recorded from, so
Yep.
I thought it was cool that they were letting us finally come here to this one.
It's a small house, only 7 bedrooms.
Only 7 bedrooms, I know. And if it wasn't 90 fucking degrees outside,
Yeah.
I would love. They got a kick-ass patio out back here with like 30 more seats and a big old covered area. That's
awesome.
We'll do that in the future, but for now, surprisingly, we're sweating inside until this air kicks in, which I may have to go over there and do something about. But anyway. Appreciate those guys for letting us come back here again. You can check them out at partyhouse.com. That's partyhous.com. Right in the middle of Lexington, Kentucky. And they are badass places. Today, we are going to do something that Drew actually brought up.
He did. He sent us a little message on Instagram.
Yeah,
there.
we had it, like, we have a list of topics that we can kind of pick and choose from, and we'll kind of prioritize them. And Drew's like, dude, have you ever heard of the Dublin Whiskey Fire? This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, I have. But
I haven't.
you know,
I haven't. I
was like, actually, let's just go ahead and talk about it because it is pretty crazy.
It is cool.
I started doing some research on this, and I guess it's like with anything. Once you start looking into it, there is content on it already where people have looked into it. They've done their own research, and you know that's kind of all we do is we just take it from them. We compile it and present it in our own format, which is Arsenic Culture. But this is one of those things, again, where I'm surprised more people don't know about it.
I think, when I started doing some research on it, there were some resources, but they kind of all said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
When I look at research, what I'm trying to do for the show, I want to find something that's a little different, right?
Yeah,
like,
I
not
agree.
somebody out here just making shit up, but a little something different. So there was a lot of information on the first part of it, but as you get towards the end of it, and we'll see, it's pretty sparse.
Yeah.
But there is some cool spots.
But the middle part's the best part.
Oh, it's 100%. That's my part.
Is
That's
that
my
because
part.
everybody was drunk?
Oh yeah,
Or
to,
dead.
to the nth degree. Yeah,
Or the other.
it gets pretty severe. Well, I'll start it out. In June 18th, I normally have my iPad here. My wife took it to Tennessee, so now I got to read off my phone.
1875.
I'm just gonna hold it like this while we're on here. But June 18th, 1875, in Dublin's Liberties neighborhood. The Liberties neighborhood was apparently kind of like, I don't want to say ghetto, but I guess it was more of like a poor area. Did you look up the Liberties?
No, I think you're right, though. I think
It's
it
like
is
a poor area.
Yeah.
Lots of warehouses, lots of distilleries, and they just jam-packed them all in there together on top of each other.
But in their defense, in 1875, your affluent neighborhoods were probably like that big.
That's true too. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
didn't have much
and
of that,
honestly,
so most of
they-
it was
yeah,
poor.
they probably got a lot of affluent neighborhoods are probably like one house for like 2,000 acres.
Yeah.
So that's the neighborhood, quote unquote. But in this area, there was a warehouse owned by somebody named Lawrence Malone. He was just a warehouse owner. He didn't have a distillery. He wasn't a distiller. He literally had a big old open space and was like, distilleries, you can put your barrels in here. I'll charge you a few, however many dollars to store them, and that's it. He had no vested interest in the actual spirits, but he housed a lot of whiskey, a lot of Irish whiskey, obviously, because we're in Ireland
So
right
it's
now.
rig houses, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his own like rig houses. I didn't actually compare what he had to real actual rick houses. Like, I didn't know if they were set up the
I
same way
didn't see a
with
comparison.
levels and with like, racks and stuff like that.
To my knowledge, back then, that would have been probably single level, but still, there was a lot of barrels.
Right,
in there.
yeah. It said his warehouse stored around 5,000 hogsheads. You know what a hogshead
It's the
is?
size of barrel, but I couldn't tell you what size it is. Is it 55?
It's 52 and a half.
Okay.
You know what a regular barrel is? 53.
You're putting me on the spot.
I know, yeah.
Yes, I know what it is.
I knew you didn't get it by looking in your eyes, so I saved you.
53 gallons.
Yeah, a regular barrel is 53 grams. Hogshead is 52 and a half. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, there's different. They call them. There's different names for different ones too. And you see a lot of whiskey, like distilleries now, will use a smaller barrel, like a probably 20 gallon, 25 gallon,
Right.
30. What the theory is the more surface area, it's going to age it quicker.
Yeah.
But in reality, it really doesn't.
No.
So sorry to sidebar.
No, there's going to be a lot of sidebars here because I had to look up what a fucking hogshead is and like where that name came from, and apparently, like nobody knows. Like it was some like Latin etymology, I think, to where it's like, or like Norwegian, I think it was something
right.
hog. It came from like just like the hog of a head of a hog or something. Nobody really could like
Makes
draw
sense. It's called hogshead.
Exactly, but I guess over time they're like, why the fuck are we calling this a hogshead? Let's call it a barrel. And they just changed it because it's the same size as our actual regular barrel. So bonded warehouses held untaxed, high-proof whiskey, which is a tempting but dangerous commodity. I don't know why I wrote that down. That was a pretty stupid thing to say.
I bet they weren't bonded back then. I mean, sidebar here, but I bet they weren't even bonded, honestly.
Probably not. It was so like I guess what I was trying to say there is the regulations were very loose. You know,
sure.
And especially back in 1875, like, nobody really gave
and
a shit.
I have some more information on that later too.
Yeah. So around between 4:35 and 8:30 p.m., a fire was started. I looked everywhere to try to figure out how this fire was started.
I couldn't find it either.
Nobody knows. There is some people that speculate that there was a bakery next door. That it could have. It's called Reed's Malt House. I'm sorry, not bakery, malt house, where they do like malting for grains. Yeah. And somebody suspected like it could have spontaneously happened from that location and like carried over. Some people were saying it was just like a lantern that just like fell and broke and just caught on fire. Nobody really knows, but the issue is that the whiskey in these barrels in this warehouse were so high proof. I mean, it's basically just like straight ethanol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's super, super flammable. At 9:30 p.m., barrel explosions unleashed a river of flaming whiskey flowing through Cork, Ardee, Chamber, and Mill Streets. This warehouse was, I guess, kind of up a hill.
Well, it's usually by, well, I mean, I guess it's not a distillery, but distilleries are usually by a water source. So it's probably, there's distilleries close. Like think of Whiskey Row.
Yeah.
You probably had some distilleries and you had a rick house there, which is what went up.
Yeah.
But it's by a water source.
True.
And the idea, too, is that back then, water was probably a pretty quick way to get your product from one place to the next.
Good call.
Exactly
You didn't have to deal with like,
especially in 1875. Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and stop for a second and actually enjoy a pour.
Yeah, we probably should have done that first.
We'll do it now. Of Irish whiskey. So we've got some Yellow Spot, 12-year, which is honestly one of my favorites, like Irish whiskey.
You actually turned me on that. I don't have a bottle, but I know that shit is actually really good.
I get it.
Yeah, you do that sometimes, and you don't.
'Tis the season.
Just look outside. But yeah, while Jason's pouring some Irish whiskey, I'll continue talking about Irish destruction. The fires quickly spread across narrow lanes. Early evacuation by people was aided by the squeals of burning pigs. This is really morbid, but
Those were the hogheads.
well, they're headless hogs at this point. But like the people in the Liberties neighborhood, everybody had pigs, and pigs were used as a easy way to rid your trash and refuse. They would just fucking eat it.
Or dead bodies.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly right. Yeah, just like Silence of the Lambs. And they're also a cheap source of meat because pigs are delicious. So the fire was basically just burning lava coming down the streets from like up on a hill, and animals, especially pigs, were, I guess, either catching on fire or running from the flames, and they're just going nuts. And then everybody's like, what the hell's going on? That's what kind of got people up and aroused and like, what the hell is this?
Sure. And then that's when, I mean, you're looking at this. So from everything I read, there's actually a couple different YouTube like videos been made. I think the original clip that you sent us on Instagram had like a clip of that one video I watched. It's almost like AI made. It's almost like an AI voice. It's like an Irish voice talking. It's pretty boring. It's also got some errors in it.
It sucks pretty bad.
But there were some good points in it. There's another one that was pretty good.
Okay.
So from that though, like the visual you're getting here is this is a river of fire. Like it is flaming whiskey.
Quite
But it's
literally.
only 2 feet wide. So I guess there's just like whiskey running down the middle. It's just on fire.
Right.
From that, I mean, it's really hot, so high proof. I mean, it's glowing. So orange, blue, flames coming up everywhere. So they didn't want to use water. The fire chief then didn't want to use water. They were afraid it would make it worse. I'm not really sure how that.
So the fire chief was Captain James Robert Ingram, and he apparently was a pretty ingenuitive fellow. He was credited one time. There was a ship coming into port in Ireland, I guess, and the ship had caught fire, and they didn't know how to put out the fire on the ship before it would basically just like cruise into the port and make landfall and possibly crash and like damage a whole bunch of stuff and possibly even spread the fire mainland. So he told all his firemen to pull out the rifles and just open fire on the ship.
Try to sink it.
They shot the fuck out of it until it sank. Yeah, they were just like, well, the ship's lost anyway. And like at the time, a lot of people were like, dude, you're a genius, you know? Like nobody else would have thought of it. They should have been like, oh, we're fucked. But it's
coming at us. We can't move. We can't move.
So like he was saying that like if we throw water on there, the alcohol is lighter than water, so it's just kind of like gasoline in a lake.
Yeah.
It's just going to float to the top. So you pour water on there. All you're really going to do is lift it up, but create more area for it to travel. So it's just going to make it worse. So that's where that idea came from.
So what they do to try to stop it, they actually broke up the streets, they said, in the writings. So it made me think they kind of like got out there with a shovel or something, maybe try to dig ditches to keep it from crossing.
Yeah.
But they actually used sand and then manure. They were shoveling in the path as it was going. But that whiskey kept going over top of that. Kept going over top of that. So remember, that's a key point here. So it could not be contained. Still stands as one of the most destructive fires Dublin has ever seen. Which is odd because there actually wasn't a ton of damage, like money-wise.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, so how it was extinguished finally? Copious amounts of animal shit which slowed the path, and then it allowed the firefighters to focus on putting out the building fires. Like they just kept working on it.
I think they like talked to people, and there was like this kind of tongue-in-cheek moment where it's just like this fire has ravaged their neighborhood. And people were like, hey, it's kind of funny because we're trying to get rid of shit usually, but now we're trying to find as much as we can and just throw it in town, you know?
Where's the hogs?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what they use. They use shit and gravel and dirt, and they're just like, and they just try to basically make a...
So with all the damage, a lot of the buildings were, or all the fire, a lot of the buildings were damaged, but really no people were burned.
Nobody
so
died. Nobody died. Nobody got killed from the fire, which is amazing.
Nothing.
They were saying that, like, back then, you imagine, like, you see it in, like, these old movies and stuff. Somebody's house is just, like, a series of like, you know, planks of wood, and there's usually like a crack like this big, you know, like 4 inches under there. They said like rivers of fire were just going into people's houses and just like into their homes, and people still got away and nobody died, which is pretty
and honestly, overall it looked like minimal property damage back then, but still.
Yeah.
So as the city burned, what did people do? Well, they came out there, gathered around the edges of the fire, and then scooped the damn booze up. So the shit, the booze that went through the shit that was on fire, they're out there picking it up with hats, with boots, with any container they got.
Yeah.
So they're going to drink it, of course, a little bit later.
Yeah, they used something called a porringer, which I've never heard of.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's basically a bowl. I had to look it up, but they kept saying, I kept seeing porringer. It's a porridge bowl. It's just kind of spelled differently, but yeah, they come in there. There was 2 guys that they found. I can't remember the word they used. It's hilarious. It was like a very old-timey word. It was like discombobulated or something. But like both of the guys were like just passed out on the street without any shoes. But they had the shoes like in their hands because they were using boots to fill up whiskey and just chug it. And they were just like everybody was just going to town just drinking whiskey from the streets infested with shit and gravel.
Well, and the problem, you look at this, so this is our yellow spot, the Irish single pot still, 12 years old. It's only 92 proof. What do y'all think of that one right now?
I love it. I love it. This is great.
Yeah, it's
not
great.
a big Irish whiskey guy, but that's really good.
It's really good. It's actually, the price on this one's went up exponentially for retail in the past 5 years. Like when I got this bottle, it was probably $90. Now it's about 150. Like it's just retail went up.
Yeah.
But the reason I look at that, so the proof 92, That's what they're used to drinking. This would be like us drinking 140 back then, would be
Yeah.
92.
Really? Yeah.
So they're used to drinking lower proof bourbon. Everything's cut and everything.
Right.
The reason people die, the reason these guys are passed out, is all this is barrel proof. It's like
This was uncut.
It's like Bacardi 151.
This wasn't
Like,
ready
it's-
for release.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure it was awful, but there was actually 13 people that died. But again, not from the fire; it was from alcohol poisoning. So that's
Right.
Every single death.
And not from like dysentery or whatever.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Which drinking all the
Yeah.
shit water.
Honestly, there's probably people had dysentery and were completely disinfected from it.
Right.
8 victims were carried to Meath Hospital. 12 victims were carried to Jervis Street Hospital. 3 to Stevens Hospital. And 1 guy was carried to Mercer's Hospital. That's, what is that, 24? 24 people were basically found comatose and just passed out from drinking. And like we said, that actually ended up resulting in 13 people died from alcohol poisoning.
Those are the weak ones.
Those are the people that didn't have enough practice.
Thin this herd out a little bit.
I think though, after a while, if you took 3 shots of 151, you'd be like, "Oh my god!" Like I couldn't drink that shit.
I know,
Everclear, whatever.
Imagine
yeah.
3 boots of
Right,
151.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just, wringing your shoelaces out so you can get every drop. Yeah, you imagine how poor you got to be like, I'm going to drink shit whiskey at 150,
Yeah.
150.
Your woolen socks.
Oh, God.
Wringing them out.
You know, you get a lot of shit in them woolen socks, too. You probably could have stopped the fire flood with the woolen socks. Just, like, soak it all up.
You changed them never because you had 1 pair.
Yeah. They're worse than the horse shit and manure and stuff. Dr. Samuel Ferguson and medical officials reported profound coma cases and eventual death from ingestion of high proof whiskey, excuse me. Lord Mayor Peter Paul McSwiney, not Swinney, McSwiney. Unless I misspelled that, I'm not really sure.
An Irish name.
I'm just thinking Sweeney Todd.
I know, yeah. He praised quick evacuation, noted that no one died from the fire itself. They kept hammering that home. It's like, we were able to get everybody out safely. Everybody that died, it's their own fucking fault, just because they're dumb. He also said that inquests suggested that this may have happened in any city where there was a tendency to indulge immoderately in drink. We're going to be doing another recording very soon after this.
Oh, yeah.
A spill, which I'm really excited about.
I'm excited about it too.
And there's a lot of parallels here.
Really?
Yeah, and this all happens in the UK. It's all the
Weird.
same. I know.
It's like that or Wisconsin. Aren't they known for their heavy drinking?
They can drink.
I know,
Wisconsin.
yeah, that's hilarious. There was one report of a dog apparently that got drunk. This sounds kind of like a wives' tale, but supposedly a dog got drunk, started foaming at the mouth, jumped from a window, and ended its life. But they were saying this dog was just like running around like crazy. You couldn't stop it. Ran into a burning house and was just like, and it just jumped out a window and like died. They say it was drunk, but I was like, well, I guess I think about it. I've done shit like that when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
So
You've jumped out of windows.
Oh yeah, out of a burning building. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Crystal meth.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a drug. So after that, I mean, they look at the final loss of everything. So it was $40,000 in damages back then, which is today's money would be $6 million. So it's a lot, but it's not like an obscene amount.
No.
You know, you think about that. I mean, hell, the houses down here where we're kind of at in this neighborhood would be like 5 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or,
yeah.
or 6 of them.
Yeah, or this one that we're
Or
in.
this one that we're in, yeah, which is very good. So, and actually most of that money was in destroyed whiskey. So it really wasn't in a lot of structures. I guess
Yeah.
back then it just kind of got away from it.
Yeah.
What it led to, though, is it led to like more modern safety standards for Dublin and then the Irish whiskey, trade overall.
Right.
And actually it led to legitimate fire departments. So I guess before this, it was kind of like, hey, you want to go stop a fire with me? I can just pick somebody up.
Yeah.
There was no training. There was no money. You
And
weren't
I'm
getting
like,
paid.
no, I don't really feel like it. And he's like, but there's like free whiskey. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
I'm too drunk. I can't go right now. But
Yeah.
I'll come later I'll come for happy hour after. So also what came of this too, distilleries actually created their own fire units. So they could put out these fires quicker.
Oh, really?
If they
I didn't
happened.
see that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that
That's
was
pretty
actually,
cool. Yeah.
I think it was actually from the video I watched, to tell you the truth.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
In parallels to this is something in bourbon. We're in Kentucky, so Heaven Hill, they had a big fire back in '96. Do you remember that? Do you remember when that happened?
I don't think
yeah.
so. 96.
Like the
fire, yeah.
river was on fire. Like it was
big
what this
fire.
talks about, blue, orange. I mean, it's crazy flames.
Right.
And then it destroyed actually 10,000 barrels of whiskey. They had bourbon whiskey.
What did that come out to
Well,
financially?
I don't have money, but I do have some other stats. So that was 2% of the world's whiskey
Jesus
at that time.
Christ, that's huge.
That's huge. It was 15% of Heaven Hill's storage capacity in their fire. Their total, and it also burned up the distillery, which lost their yeast strain.
That's
So
huge.
that's huge for them.
And that might have been when they started maybe sending off their yeast to like store and like.
That's right. That's right. So it came into things of like you're going to store it off site somewhere.
Right.
You know, we did an episode. It's just me on there with our friends at the Mash.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We talked with Bruce Russell, and they were talking about yeast strains.
Yeah.
He talked to us that day and said Jimmy Russell was like, "Oh, I've got another yeast strain at home." He's like, "Well, what happens if it's in the freezer?" He's like, "Well, what happens if your electricity goes off?" He goes, "Oh, my brother's got one at his house too." He goes, "They're on the same grid." Like, you know what I mean?
And he's like, "Damn it!"
Yeah. So Heaven Hill didn't have any backup. So what happened there? Jim Beam was nice enough to give him one of theirs. So if you see people looking on like the secondary markets or something, you'll see pre-fire Heaven Hill. Any of those labels are worth a lot more because it has the original yeast strain.
That's pretty
cool. And then since then, you have kind of a nuttiness. So Jim Beam has that nuttiness flavor. Heaven Hill, a lot of people's picked that up on because of that.
Right.
So the reason I bring that up, though, is just because it's very similar, right? I mean, the same thing kind of happened.
Parallel there.
You think they'll learn the first time.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, exactly.
Nobody was in the Kentucky River, though, drinking up that.
oh, hell no. Hell no.
No.
No, I want to say there was like a lot of lawsuits from that one too, from like the smoke damage and shit. I mean, it was ravaging. I remember watching on like WYMT or local, news station and seeing that for a couple days, like the river on fire.
Could you imagine drinking out of the Kentucky River?
No, I wouldn't.
Fucking like fish bones and like arms and legs just like floating down.
Mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick it out of your teeth.
Just like sticks and fucking. There was actually a whiskey that came out to commorate this
really?
event.
I didn't see that.
In 2014. It was called Flaming Pig.
Yes.
And I don't
I
actually.
thought that was a metal band.
And it could be too, but I think Flaming Pig might be the name of the distillery. Give me.
I've never heard of it, but there's a lot of them over there that I'm not aware of. Like I'm not a big Irish whiskey connoisseur,
Right.
But I really like this one. Get a little
Yeah,
more if you want
that's
some
so
there.
good.
I love it. They do some other ones. They do a green spot, yellow spot, red spot. They're all different aged, but they're all single pot still, to my knowledge. So.
Yeah, here you go. It's that Flaming Pig is actually the brand of whiskey, so that's the name of it. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a bottle or it was actually a brand. But
Yeah.
yeah, Flaming Pig came out in 2014, and it was actually named after the Dublin Whiskey Fire,
That's awesome. I've
where
never heard
nobody
of that.
died in the fire, but because they were saved by flaming pigs.
I feel like
then
you
everybody
should have
got
got us this bottle map for this
yeah,
episode,
it's
Damon.
we've got a couple of pieces of content coming up where I wish we had a friend in the UK that
Right?
yeah, but
Well, I have
probably-
family in the UK, so
well,
I got family in UK too. It's here in Kentucky.
yeah, yeah, it's me.
I think one of my cousins works in a bar in London.
That's shocking.
so
You're
we
telling me
should-
there's people that drink in London?
No.
Well, you said people in the UK are known for overconsumption.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, do you know the drinking age in Ireland? I don't know if it's the same
18,
way.
isn't it?
18.
It's 18.
Yeah.
It's
It's 18.
16 if
Oh,
you're in a
shit.
restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Like sitting down with like it said with a meal.
Right.
I guess like if you're eating, then you can drink when you're
Yeah.
16.
Well, I went to Europe on a high school trip when I was 15, and one of the consents that they sent home was, because alcohol is part of the culture when you're in Europe, do you consent to have your child, like to have a glass of wine or something or whatever with a meal?
And you're like,
So-
fuck yeah.
Well,
Mom, Dad, sign this.
being the business that my dad was in, like we would drink wine. I'd have a little bit of wine with dinner or whatever every once in a while. But so he signed the consent. Everybody in our group did, and we were in London, and so I met up with my uncle. I'm 15 years old.
Yeah.
I'm tall for my age then, but so we go to a pub and watch a rugby match. And he got us 2 pints, and we literally just sat there
fucking
and
cool.
drank. Nobody batted an eye. Nobody looked at us
of course,
sideways.
yeah.
But what we ended up doing the rest of that trip is using that consent to basically drink at will.
Which is what you should do. That's what you should do.
I mean, so we went
Yeah,
across
that's
like
hilarious.
7 different countries in Europe just drinking wherever we
Yeah.
could.
I've got consent. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm too young to drive, so I'm safe. Don't worry. That's fucking awesome, man. That's the Dublin Whiskey Fire. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, you never
Nobody
hear
died
about it. It's
except
very
for everybody
interesting.
died. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's cool. So, and the Irish whiskey is pretty good. We talked about doing an Irish whiskey like spiller episode.
We need to.
Actually based on that yellow spot, which
Yeah.
is fucking amazing, dude.
It is. It's just they gotten so pricey right now. Again, there's a red spot. I think it's their top one. They might even have some different ones. They got like green,
They got the
red,
green
and
one,
yellow
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I've not even seen the red one.
It's in like a tube, like a tin tube.
Well, here's to the fucking drunks over in the UK. Cheers, you crazy motherfuckers.
Don't drink shit in your whiskey.
Yeah, or do, whatever. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, then share it. If you didn't, then just keep drinking till you do. For more Arsenic Culture, you can check us out on all the socials. We are at Arsenic Culture.
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll see you on the next one.